Good morning, it is Monday the 15th of July 2024 and I have a new version of pjsProfilebars to share. It has been uploaded to the website, you can download and install it now. It's a straightforward upgrade, just install as you would normally straight over the top of your existing installation and you should be fine. The release notes are on the website, you can read the various changes and so on there. I'll run through them very quickly. The default timeout to drop stale data has been changed. pjsProfilebars has a performance feature in it that detects if Ninjatrader is unable to cope with the amount of data that's currently coming in during high volatility and will sacrifice itself somewhat to allow Ninjatrader to at least attempt to continue running normally and catch up. Unfortunately, rhythmic data recently has had some issues and has been considerably lagged even before it gets to the user, which led Profilebars to start dropping data, which is what it is supposed to do. However, the rhythmic issues with some providers have been so extensive, we've decided to push the timeout up from 3 to 30 seconds by default. Existing installations won't change, but new installs will. And if you've been suffering that issue, you may want to look at that number yourself until Rhythmic get their act together. New feature, just to reset an option to reset the cumulative delta on the start of each new session. A few fixes. Candle offset shift. This allows you to manually move the candles left or right by a certain number of candles. Might sound like a strange option to have, but if you have multiple data series on the same chart in the same pane, because of the way Ninjatrader draws bars, the hourly bar, for instance, can actually be in front of the 2-minute bars that are appearing, whereas for visuals, really, you want the hourly profile back a bar. So that feature has been added. A few other minor changes, some extra variables added to the algo helper. This one is a major new feature, the option to extend unbroken value areas forward. We'll show you that. So completely standard chart here. I'll just double click the indicator to get into the settings. So if we go to the value area configuration, there we are. So we need to make sure calculate value area is on. You don't necessarily need this option, but that's what gives a slightly darker area in these profiles here. I will turn this option on. We have a zone opacity and some styling options for the zone. We don't need to worry about this one. This one I will mention. As standard, in fact on most profiles, alternative profiles, people tend to set the value area at 70%. I think technically it is supposed to be 68.3, which is what we use as a default if you have the option to change it on your platform at all. But for this purpose, because I'm looking to use these more as supply-demand type zones, I want the area to be focused a bit more tightly on the volume, so I'm going to change it to 0.4, which is 40%. The only other thing I've changed from the defaults is this recalculate and change. Calculating the value area is actually a little bit expensive in terms of processing time, so we don't do it on every incoming tick. This actually, changing it to 0.05 makes it recalculate more often. But I'm doing that just because I have quite short-term bars here, so let me OK that. This machine is fairly slow because it's a development virtual machine. So now we have these extra zones that have appeared, and what they are, if you look, is an extension forward of the value area of each profile. In most cases, you will see that the naked VPOC, which is this magenta line in the middle, is within that zone. Not always, but in most cases. The difference here is that the naked VPOC will be removed once it is hit, and because the naked VPOC is just a few ticks wide or a tick wide depending on your setting, it'll be removed fairly easily. The value area, on the other hand, it tends to be somewhat wider, as you can see, and the value area here, it's not strictly a value area, by the way. I think you could probably more accurately refer to it as a higher volume zone or a fair value area, will not be removed unless price trades completely through both sides. So it tends to stick around a bit longer. If you think of these as supply-demand type levels, it makes sense because in each profile, if you look at where the zones come from, they are from the highest volume points in each bar. So you would expect if more volume went off here than down here and here, when we return to that area, there's probably some business to be done. And if you scroll through and look at them, you'll see that's typically the case. We come back and we tend to test these value areas. So that's how I've been looking at them anyway, and they have been quite useful. So that's that feature. Newtonsoft is a popular third-party DLL. Has been upgraded to the latest version. Improved buy-sell volumes in the data grid. Some of the options in the data grid, like buy and sell volume, previously were just plain. They've now also been upgraded to have the background shading. Some of the legend descriptions on the left, if they appear, like D and vol here, where there are clear buy and sell distinctions like buy volume, sell volume, they've also now been coloured with the up-down colours, just to make it easier to spot them quickly. That's that, and the flow cursor, that's the next new major feature. You do need a little bit of extra right hand margin on your chart for this because it displays a graphic here. If you are on the Ninjatrader defaults, your chart may be a little bit far over to the right, so if you right click your chart and go to properties, just extend this margin. That'll move everything to the left a bit and give you a bit of space to actually put the features. I'll just enable that. Double click the indicator again to bring up the settings. Find the trade aid for flow cursor. There we go. Excuse me. I'll enable that and click apply. So now we have this little graphic here with a couple of numbers. What this is, the upside down triangle here is indicating that there is more sell pressure than buy pressure. And this triangle will actually expand and contract in size depending on the degree of buy or sell pressure. The 51% indicates that 51% of the volume is sell volume, or bid volume is being eaten up by the sellers. So conversely, you got 49% on the other side. The actual number below is the actual imbalance, so 170 contracts-ish there to the other side. So this will just move up and down with current price. Not very active here, obviously, after the close. You see that little green dot that just appeared? That is because I have show block trades on here. This means a block trade above the block trade size, which is set in the data settings here. I've got it set to 10 here just for demonstration purposes, but that's the minimum size required to trigger a block event. So go back to that. So the little circles will appear if you have show block trades on. when a block trade goes off, and they will fade away as that liquidity has been reversed. So if a block trade for 100 contracts comes in on the buy side, that circle will start to shrink as contracts come in on the sell side. You'll see it here. If you have show numbers on, as we have here, for block trades, you also get the number above, which shows the number of remaining contracts to be neutralized. The idea behind that is when large block trades go off, you can see how quickly the other side comes in with partial lots or full size and neutralizes them. Essentially, if you've got negative pressure like you have here and you keep getting red circles above and they don't go away, that's significant selling pressure. Again, things are a tiny bit out of whack at the moment because this is on replay out of hours, so not a lot of contracts changing hands, but hopefully you get the idea there. Couple of things to mention about this feature. The period here is the number of historical bars to group in with the calculation. So these numbers here are not just from the current bar. It's a bit like a very short-term cumulative delta, if you like. It'll be a sum or a formula based on however many historical bars you've had set in the period here. If you change this to 0, it will only be the current live bar, which might be more useful for some really long-term charts. But on most of the shorter-term charts, you'll get more out of it by having some historical bars in there as well. You can play with that value. If you're trading very short-term charts, you might bump it up to 5 or 7, but see what works best for you. The width here, that allows you to actually change the maximum size of this. So it's reasonably small at the moment, but if I was to change that on, like I have on 1 or 2 of my charts, to 75, you'll get much larger range of expansion and contraction. You basically larger triangle. Metric, the only supported metric at the moment is delta, but I'm probably going to add some further metrics, volume based ones, to it. X-axis adjustment just allows you to move this left or right by decreasing or increasing the number if you need to. Size factor is an option which allows you to vary the amount by which these icons expand and contract. Really, you have to play with these numbers a little bit depending on what symbol you're trading and what sort of size volume and your duration of chart. Well, the defaults should work fine as a base for everything, but just play around until you get it how you like it, basically. And obviously the block trade options we've just covered. And I think that's it for now. Download, upgrade, have a play. Let us know what you think in the Discord or via the website. And I hope you like the new changes. Thank you.